Hello everybody, it's Big Al with some more content for Lord of the Rings Rise to War. So on this video I am coming to you from the Forgotten account. I have been looking at a lot of reports and I want to talk about Gil armies. So the point of Gil is for his High King and Kinly Kin. So you are going to evade damage. Let me go and pull up Gil and bring up his skills so you understand what I'm talking about. Kinly Kin. For the first 2 rounds, elf units and 3 allied formations have a 60% chance to evade damage. Goes up to 70% when it's fully. Then you got High King. For the first 5 rounds, attack and defense of elf units in 3 allied formations plus 18, and it's modified by command stat. So those are his biggest skills. You're going to be using him as a tank. So the general formation is you put a guardian or a swan knight, or a mountain troll on Gil, or great beasts for that matter, and then you have elves in your other unit as your other units on the other commanders. So this is one thing I want to talk about. Some people love Shire ponies, and don't get me wrong, they are a good unit, and I'm going to show you those right now as well. But I want to talk about why I don't think you should run Shire ponies on a Gil formation. So if we go into the Shire ponies, you have their skills, okay? 50% chance to increase damage if allied army includes other units. Up to 1 other formation units protect Shire pony from receiving the enemy's normal attack. So one of your other units is going to protect the Shire ponies. So with that being said, people tend to think because they have Gil and their other units evade damage that the Shire ponies damage is going to be evaded as well, but it's not. So I had one guy send me a report because I wanted to show it to you. So we are going to walk through reading the report. As you can see, he's got Gil, and I'll show you so you understand. He's got a R14 Gil. He's got 8 Gandalf the White, 8 Bjorn, and a 10 Dane. So he went up against this guy, which way outclasses him. Higher levels, higher gear, plain and simple. So with that being said, let's go to the report. And there's a bunch of different things you want to look for in a report. First, I like to scroll down here and see what the anomalies are. So the enemy caused him 3 maddens and 6 stuns. As you can see here, it shows who they go on. Stun is different than madness. Stun is going to stun them for a round. When somebody maddens somebody, or targets them with madness, there is a certain % chance that they will be affected by the madness. Then there's an additional RNG as if they can, what's the term? I forget the term that the game uses. But anyways, there's a second RNG if the madness actually infects them. So they might not damage themselves. So there's those. Then if you look up here at the top, it'll show the commander damage, the soldier damage, etc. And you can look here and it'll tell you how much damage each skill did. So one of the things that's a big misconception is Dane, his Durin's Blood. There are times that his Iron Foot or his King of the Under the Mountain are going to do more damage than his Durin's Blood. But Durin's Blood is still the hardest hitting skill. But the reason is this only hits 3 times in a battle, where these other 2 hit 5 times. So that's where the difference comes in. But anyways, let's get back on topic. And we're looking here at the lineup. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to show you Gil activates Kinly Kin on the Heralds, the Cavalry Archer, and the Bow Knight. Okay, so he has the Shire ponies on Dane. So once the battle begins, okay, we have all these, and it will show you that they avoid damage. But one of the things I wanted to show, I am going to have to find it. I think it's right here. Right here, okay. Shire Protectors Formation 4 is protected by Bjorn's formation. Okay. And where is the actual hits? Okay, Gandalf the White targeted the Shire Protectors. They are protected by the Bow Knights. Bow Knights avoid attacks. Killingkin avoidance did not affect Bow Knights. Okay? So, as you see here, the Bow Knights protected the Shire ponies. They still suffered damage. They didn't avoid the attack. They avoided the original attack that was targeted to the Bow Knights, but when the Shire ponies were targeted, they don't evade the protection on the Shire ponies. So yes, your Shire ponies are still evading. Yes, your Bow Knights are still evading the regular attacks from the enemy. But when they are protecting the Shire ponies, they still take that damage. And that is one of the reasons why I don't believe Shire ponies should be on Gil formations. Because generally, like I said, Gil, you want him to have a beefy taunt unit. You want people targeting him. You want him to take the damage. He's built to take the damage. You want all your damage dealers to have elves. That way, they evade the damage for the first 2 rounds. And then even after the first 2 rounds, they have the High King that gives them a buff in defense and attack. So, let's go to round 2. Okay, the round 2 begins. Let's scroll through here and look for here. Bow Knight triggers Shire Protector. So the Bow Knights are going to protect the Shire Protectors again. So if we scroll down here, let's see. Causes Bjorn to take Killingkin, continues to affect Bow Knights. So the Bow Knights evaded the original attack from Gandalf. And then let's find farther. Okay, damage received, Shire Protectors making them lose 1 unit. And I wanted to scroll through here so you're finding it as I'm finding it. I didn't want to just have it all laid out. I did read some of it, but I don't know where the round 2 is. Okay, where is the protection? Here we go. Shire Protectors protected by Bow Knight. Avoids attack. Killingkin's avoidance continues to affect Bow Knights. Oh, so the Bow Knights did avoid all attacks. So even the one that was targeted at the Shire Protectors. So, that's interesting to know because in the first round it did not do that. So, I guess Shire Protectors are okay, but at the same time, you want your damage dealers that have the elves to evade the attacks. So, to me, it's still not worth it to have the Shire Protectors. Now, if you're running Frodo, Falcon, Isildur, something like that, yes, I recommend. Well, I can't say I recommend. I agree with using Shire Protectors sometimes. I like Shire Protectors if they are behind a tank that has great beasts. That I do like, because then you can put a tanky unit on your damage dealers. But my personal opinion is the Shire ponies don't belong on a Gil formation because you are still taking instances of damage with whichever unit protects the Shire ponies. And again, one of the big things about this is, let me go back in here and show you this. 4 allied formations receive 18% less damage from the first 5 hits taken. So because those bow knights protected the Shire ponies, they have a couple instances of damage where they took damage. Okay, so now your White Council is starting to get stripped in the first round. Now with Gil, if they are evading all damage, their White Council is going to be there in full at the start of round 3. So think about that. So that's what I think about that. In my opinion, on Gil, you want the tank. You want Swan Knight, Mountain Troll, Great Beasts, even Guardians, because they are beefy melee unit. And then if you put with all these 3 with elves, they're avoiding the first, as long as that triggers, they're avoiding all damage for the first 2 rounds, and then start around 3, then they have the White Council. But like I said, with the Shire ponies, the bow knights protected them, and they took damage, so they are already getting their White Council stripped. So that's my opinion on Gil armies. Don't use the Shire protectors on Gil armies. Falcon armies, absolutely you can, because then you can put dwarves on Falcon and it's alright, because his White Council is for 3 dwarven units. So, like I said, I hope this makes sense to people. Try to run Gil without the Shire ponies, in my opinion, because that extra 1-2 hits of damage from White Council could be huge, because the big skills like Durin's Blood are going to fire off in round 3. You want to make sure you have White Council at that time, because say like Bjorn, say if Bjorn was the last one of your commanders to act, he took 2 instances of damage in the first round. He did avoid in the second round. So White Council does 7? Yep, 7 instances of damage. Okay, so he's already got 2 down. You get into round 3, say that guy's Dane is the last one to act. He's got 3, if he had Dane, or even Bjorn works too. But say he took damage from 3 of those formations. That could be 6 instances of damage right there. So he's going to take the full brunt of Durin's Blood if there was a Dane there. So, like I said, I hope that makes sense to people. My opinion, Shire ponies not on a Gil army. Others where you're using tanks, sure, but not the Gil army, because there's too many other variables in RNG that could hurt you, and you can avoid those just by using the elves. So that's my opinion on Gil armies, and I hope it makes sense. As always, make the most out of what you got.